computer. Okay, hello, and welcome friends, women, for watching my channel, Own Your Sparkle. And as you guys know, I love interviewing women that we look up to and have mentors when it comes to our transition. And today I have Rosie. Thank you, Rosie, for joining. Oh my goodness, look at how beautiful she is. I know, right?
Thank you.
So I just want to say, like, Rosie, we've met on social media. I've been following her. Listen, guys, I needed mentors. I needed inspiration when I was going through my transition. I transitioned. It's almost going to be my 2-year anniversary. And it's people like Rosie that gave me hope that, oh my gosh, I can look as beautiful and elegant and right with the old stories that we have running in our head that we're going to look like a grandparent and nobody's going to see us ever again, right? Old stories.
Yes, they're old stories.
Old stories. So Rosie, who's Rosie? She's from Texas. She is, so you guys can follow her. If you want inspiration, follow her on Rosie Fab Life on Instagram. She is a mama bear to 8 and a grandma to 11. And look at how hot she looks. Okay, girlfriends, if I can give you any hope that you can bring it to the next level, it's Rosie. And lastly, she also just mentioned that she is a retired Spanish teacher, 40 years as a teacher. She's in her 2nd year of enjoying life. And I'm sure I follow you, so you're enjoying your grandkids. I see that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And okay, so here's my first question to Rosie. So first off, show people how long your hair is, because it gets cut off on the video. See how long that hair is? And then do you see how beautiful the tone is? Do you see how she's got that white, but then underneath she's got the dark? Like the teenagers, yeah, see that? The teenagers pay big bucks for that. And guess what? That's Rosie's natural hair.
Free.
Right? And free of charge. So let's ask Rosie the first question. I know this is always on your heart and mind. Rosie, how old were you when you transitioned? And why did you decide to do it? Because it's always so fearful for women to make that decision.
Well, I was 55. I was 55 when I transitioned. As I had told you before, I lost my son in Afghanistan in 2010. And, you know, you go through all of that. And then eventually start to want to do things a little bit differently. And then one day I'm sitting there at the hair salon. My hair has been super pixie. In 1975, when I graduated from high school, everybody has Farrah Fawcett hair. And I have Halle Berry short over, you know, and Halle Berry wasn't even in then, but that's the hair I had. So I had super short hair. And so going to get a haircut, and you know, the gray coming out so quick, and you want to keep that pixie. It just, one day I said, I'm done, no more. I want to change and I'm going to let it go. I wasn't too afraid simply because I get my gray from my mom and she never colored her hair. The other thing I had going for me, because I see a lot of the comments in the feeds, my husband for several years prior to that had said, let it go, you would look sexy. And I was like, okay, sexy, gray hair, you just don't want me to spend any money. I know you're kind. And he would always point out women, and I would tell him, yes, but that one's really young. She's probably premature. She doesn't have wrinkles. I have wrinkles, you know, and so, no. But when I was ready, then I just did it. For me, the transition wasn't really difficult simply because I had the short hair. So cut it, and it was done, you know, in 5 months. Okay. As a high school teacher, my student, and then I'd show up to class and I'd have these white things like that. I look like Mercury, the god. And my students, Senora, you look so cool. I'm like, okay, thanks. Not intentional, but if you think I look cool, and you know how kids are, high school kids, they just keep you young, right?
Yeah.
So we did it. And eventually, and I'd have kids in the hallway, not my students, that would stop and say, what is that hair color of yours? And I'm like, okay, well, it's umber. I have chosen 50 shades of gray and all this. And then I would tell them, no, it's my natural hair. You have to get this old to get this hair. And so they were like, oh, I really love it. And, you know, everybody was starting to go for that gray hair color a couple of years back. And so that was my transition. I didn't know it was a journey. And now that I got online and saw everybody, you know, your group and everything, I'm like, what? they chronologize it. They're taking pictures. So I had to go back to Facebook and find, my memory pictures. Well, here was my journey, and I put my journey together as well and all of that. I just kind of happened to go, through it and all, and it was great. Nicole, what a change it made in my life as far as, okay, I'm not lying. In that pixie, well, even now, and I'm not bragging, every day, I love your hair. I love your hair. Oh, your hair, and your hair is fabulous. And you look this and you look that. My head's just growing. But I'm thinking, well, if that's what they think, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It was just I guess what I want to tell women is, this is where we need to go. It's okay to go there. It doesn't mean age. It doesn't mean we're going to look like Tweety's grandma or the granny in Beverly Hills, Billy's, or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
I think about, again, the Lord and how important he is to me. I think about, he thinks about even the tiniest details of our lives, because look what he thought. And when they get to that point, I'm going to give them not gold hair that could make us, maybe not everybody can look good in gold and yellow. I'm going to give them silver hair. Silver goes with everything. Your shade of silver, my shade of silver, whatever you have.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? Isn't that
I
neat about
love
him?
that.
And he thought it too.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking about that scripture that says, and even in your gray haired days, I will use you. Look at you. Look what you're doing with your life. You weren't going to do this with your life when you were brunette, or, you had the dye on or anything like that. But here you come to this stage when many women think, I'm done, I'm old.
Yeah.
I just see this whole hair revolution and where it's going. And it is just so exciting for our time of our lives.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
For sure. And, I'll comment on that is, when I started to think about writing a book, which is Get Naked with Your Natural Hair Color, and I wrote this book, do you know that this, there you go.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
I wanted to let women know that I had to literally get naked with myself.
Right.
On all levels to get to this place. So that's why I said get naked, because it's the layers that we have to peel off. It's the layers, it's the stories, it's this is how I should look. This is how, all of that stuff. But what I want to say to this is this was totally divinely guided. So
that's awesome.
As I like to say, is
awesome.
Spirit kicked me out of bed at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I am not a 4 a.m. in the morning. And I just was sent to write and just
That's
to
awesome.
write. And I'm like, really? You want me to write about this? Like, I'm not a writer. So when you say about the gift, I listened. Like, I always believe that the whisper is there if we get quiet enough.
Absolutely.
So I finally listened to the whisper, which was, Nicole, you can write a book. No, I can't. You can write a book. No, I can't. You can write a book. Okay, I will listen. I will trust. Write a book. Get the message out. So I hear what you're saying about the beauty of, trusting. So there's a message right there, right, Rosie? Trust.
Yes.
Why don't you just trust? You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know that I was going to be like dark and salt and pepper. The hairdressers guess. They guess. They're like, well, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to, I don't know if it'll look good. Like, why would we listen to a hairdresser that doesn't know? They don't know. They're just going to guess. And honestly, I see too many people leaning in on their hairdressers with one opinion, and then they don't do it. I'm like, really? Could you imagine if we listened to that one person that told us no?
Absolutely.
We would probably never have the success that we do. So Rosie, what are some things that you can give hope to for women? Because here's the thing. Number one thing, when people come into my Gorgeous Gray movement on Facebook, I ask them, what's your number one fear? The number one fear is looking old. Look at Rosie. Does she even need to answer the question? Right? Like, look at, guys, she's a grandma of 11 and she is rocking her silver hair and she has the longest hair she's ever had. Tell us about that. Tell me how you feel about having long hair and being a grandma of 11, because so many people say, oh, at a certain age, you have to cut it off because it's going to make you look old and blah, blah, blah.
All right. So I'm going to be 64. So let's just
Wow.
go there. And so my conscience is, aren't our moms just our kind?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
she's of that old school. Yes, she wears her hair very short. Yes, she believes after a certain age, it just needs to be short. So when I let my hair start to grow, because my husband said, let's see what all the streaks look like. I bet you it looks great and this and that. And I'm like, Stephen, I'm not 15. But that was my mom. And then I said, you know what? Let's do it. And so I let my hair grow out. A constant battle with my mom. She's like, you do know. First of all, how long are you going to let your hair grow? Like Rapunzel. I'm like, no, mom, I'm just letting it grow out. She goes, and then she'd be nice about it. She goes, I was looking at a picture of you and I, and you look so cute with the short hair, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then, when are you going to cut that hair? It just makes you look old. Don't you know that it just makes you look old? And she just out, and I stuck to my guns. I felt good. My backup were my students. They just thought I was cool and senora, your hair. And I said, I want to have long hair so I can toss it back like my friends used to in high school
Yeah.
and do this stuff with it. And they would just
Yeah.
get a kick out of that, but I just wanted to do something different, something I had not experienced.
Yeah.
And so at our age, at this point of being gray haired and everything, the good thing about it is that we can rewrite the rules.
Mm.
We can write our own rules,
Yeah.
right? Can we not? Can we
Mm.
say, no, you don't have to have short hair.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be up to here. No, it doesn't have to be colored for forever and ever and ever. I said, you can be silver. You can have the gray.
Yeah.
You just need to be confident,
Yeah.
and it will give you confidence. I guarantee you, everybody with gray hair, don't you get a million compliments about your hair all the time? So you're going to have all those people that are going to back you up and everything else.
Yeah.
And so it is time for us to rewrite our own rules. Again, because I was a high school teacher and everything, I also dressed really young, but not young where, I mean, yes, there's a difference when you're 25 and if you wear a certain thing, oh, you look a little bit too out there. Right. But when you're this age, you pull it off as being cool. And I got that from my students, in my Converse. And yes, my skirts, well, I'm not really tall, but my skirts were a little bit shorter. I mean, I wasn't, I was still all appropriate at school and things like that, but I dressed cool and in the trend and everything, because that was also me. Yeah. I'm young at heart. Yeah. And so super hyper. I coached of those 40 years, I coached for 21 varsity sports. Yeah. Okay. So, being out there and doing that and being around kids and all that stuff, it just kind of gives you a different perspective. So sometimes my mom, love her much, got to put her aside and all her comments. And I think that's what women have to do with those people, because you've read them in the comments. Yeah. My friends told me, my coworkers said, blah, blah, blah. No. Yeah. Don't listen. But that's what these groups are for. They're amazing. Your group is amazing, to just help people get through and look at pictures and say, well, if they can, I can. I know how many times I've said, these are my ripped jeans and I'm comfortable in them. And a lot of women will show themselves in their ripped jeans. We're a sisterhood. We should be. I have no sisters. I also have 5 brothers. And so I have 5 brothers and I love them all. But God, do I wish I had sisters. But when I read the comments and all that, we should be there to help each other out. I've also, as a result of my son and all that happened, my family too said, you should write. I'm not a writer, I'm a teacher, but yes, I've written a lot of poetry. And I do believe I wrote a poem about women empowering other women, and we should do that. It doesn't cost us anything. It is so helpful, especially with women in these sites that are going through these things, to be encouraged. You should be encouraged to be your own. It's a good time to be, it's a good age to be. It's okay to be gray. It's okay to have long hair. It's okay. The rules, throw them out. And if some of them, might speak to you, well, okay. And if not, well, out the window and on with life. You'll be a happier person for it.
I love it. As I summarize what she has said, and there was just something that stood out, was rewriting the rules. And I love
Rewriting the
that.
rules.
That is brilliant. Hashtag rewriting the rules.
Rewriting
Oh
the
my gosh, when I
rules.
was writing this book, Rosie, and when I was researching what back in the 40s and 50s our women were brainwashed to do and how they needed to look, if you go back to the commercials where they had to wear their heels and their dresses and their makeup and their hair needed to
Girls.
exactly, and
June Cleaver.
right, exactly.
Yes.
And that's what we bought into as women. And for the women that chose not to go down that, you know, normal path, kudos to you. And I feel like this is a movement of saying we are rewriting the rules. We're going to stop the poisoning of our brains and our skin and our health. We are going to decide what works for us, and nobody can tell us what we need to do for ourselves. So it's actually a movement, I think, of freedom
Absolutely.
for women, to say, this is me and I'm okay in the natural. And for those men that don't support us, that's okay, because that's their baggage and that's their stories that they need to change eventually. But you stay true to you and do what you need to do for your own health and for your own sense of freedom. So Rosie, I just want to say thank you so much for your energy, your passion. I hope I look as good as Rosie when I'm 64.
Oh, you look fabulous. And I love your haircut.
Yeah.
How are you liking it? Yes, that
Yeah.
just is fab. Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's taken me a while to get used to, because I loved my hair up in a bun and a ponytail, and I can't do that anymore. So I have to find different ways. I do the clip now. I can do a big clip and
I'm
clip
sure you can do a million things with it
clip.
still.
But yeah, it's fresh. And you know, I think when we play with our gray hair, it's okay to play with cool cuts and cuts that can work with your hair.
Absolutely.
So when I went in and said, I need a different cut, more fashionable, easier to wear, not like always in a bun. And she gave me this one, which is on trend right now. And then if I don't like it, it can grow out. But so far, so good. I like it. My kids like it. And they just think that every time I do something with my hair, they just think it's cool because I'm playing with the color.
It's just something new. It's just something new.
It's new.
I know I wore a lot of different cuts on my way out to growing the pixie. Yeah. So I kind of like my chop here too. It was really neat, and it just, well, all the straight hair cuts, because that's what I have. But you know, and so I just experimented with the different as it was growing out, and I stayed at some stages for a while. I didn't just deliberately grow. Right. I like that, and I like that. And then it was time for a little change and let it grow more and so on. So I don't know, I might go back to short again. I'm not scared. Scissors don't scare me, you know, so.
I love it. It's beautiful. Well, keep on shining bright and keeping your energy out there with other women that just want to look good and feel good as we continue to, you know, I'm going to say level up. Did you see my post the other day where I said, what's your level? Instead of saying, what's your age, what's your level? So
what is your level?
We level up. We level up as we move up the spectrum of life. So thank you.
Well, I think everything that you're doing is just awesome also, to helping a lot of people get, you know, through life or through this level of their life or whatever. It's just awesome what you were doing. Yes, when I saw that cover of your book, I was like, oh my God, can I do that? So I'm sitting there, fall over and on. I'm like, but that is just amazing. But yes, that's what we all need to see and to hear, and, you know, encourage ourselves. It's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So make sure you follow Rosie on Instagram. So it's Rosie Fab Life. So that you can continue to follow her pretty cool journey about inspiring other women. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Rosie.
Thank you, Nicole.